So that brings us to our next speaker. And her name's Cindy Tonkin, a very dear friend of mine, God bless you. Now, Cindy's going to talk to you guys today about presentation mastery. So can I see a show of hands who would do some form of public speaking, whether it's up in front of people in a microphone, whether it's in a networking event, whether it's to a boardroom? Who does that? Who does that? Who rocks it? Who's awesome? Judith, well done! Awesome, good on you. There's always room for improvement, isn't there? And this is one of the key elements to being an amazing leader. And after lunch, we've got the amazing Ralph Ananya, who's going to come up about pitching yourself as the expert. And there's lots of ways to do that. Now, we can actually piggyback off that with Cindy about then getting up on stage and just being that amazing person who's going to deliver an amazing message. All right, so could you please be upstanding? Actually, put your hands together for the amazing Cindy Tonkin. She's recently been nominated for the Illawarra Business Women's Awards for 2013. So
he means Telstra.
Telstra, what did I say? Illawarra.
Illawarra. But, you know, let's face it, Illawarra's the only one that counts, right?
Correct.
That's pretty much it. How many of you actually watched yourself on video? And sometimes you kind of go, oh, I didn't know I was that good. And sometimes you go, oh, my God, did I say that? Did I not realise that dress would look like that? I did a whole heap of video about 3 weeks ago wearing a black dress standing against a black screen. I disappeared. All you could see was my face. It was like a mime thing. I want to give you a bit of context in terms of who I am and where I've been. I hate this part. This whole self-promotional part from the platform, really, I find it embarrassing. So I apologise if I seem uncomfortable. It's not because I can't do this. It's because self-promotion is hard for me. How many of you feel that way occasionally? You know, you kind of go, but surely they can see just from who I am that I'm worth listening to. But apparently not. Apparently it's not all written in my face. So I've got a few slides, and if and when I turn on the technology, fortunately, I know how to use it. Either it's broken or I'm just designed to push it. So this is me, Cindy Tonkin, office politics expert is what I call myself now. Thank you. Expertise, really important to identify. I used to call myself the consultant's consultant. I mostly work in corporate. That's where most of my money comes from. Most of my joy comes from working with small business, especially service businesses, consultancy kinds of businesses. So as the consultant's consultant, I wrote a book in 1999 called The Australian Consultant's Guide, which sold 3,000, 4,000 copies in the first year, made it a bestseller. I now self-published that. They gave me back the rights in 2003, so you'll see there's 5 books there. 2 of them were published by mainstream publishers before I discovered that it was actually quicker, easier, and more effective to do it myself. You know, 2 years from the time you give them the manuscript till you can actually see it in Dymocks or Officeworks or whatever bookshops are actually currently left. 2 years. All I had to do, I can do in 20 minutes. I mean, some of the stuff Andy was talking about in terms of leveraging technology, oh my goodness, I get an ebook out in 24 hours. How is it that a mainstream publisher, what a surprise that mainstream publishers are having problems. I was recently nominated for the Business Women's Award, and it kind of says something about me. I got an email saying, you've been nominated, but the person wishes to remain anonymous. And was I happy about being nominated? No. I was pissed off that somebody had nominated me and wouldn't say who they were. What kind of craziness is that? It took me like 4 weeks before I actually this is a big deal. So yeah, I'm in the process of doing the thing. These are some of my clients, just to give you a sense of the kind of corporates I work with. In the last 13 years, 74% of my business has been referral or repeat business. So once people work with me, they want to keep on working with me. I'm much better the second time around. People warm to me. So if you're hating me right now, don't worry. By the end, you'll be going, oh yeah, that was useful. And I have to say, I've been to some really terrible conferences and presentations. How many of you have been to terrible conferences and presentations where you go, what the hell? I've learned so much from those people just from the fact of pushing against them. Like, oh, they didn't introduce themselves. points against them. I must introduce myself. They didn't. They told an offensive joke at the beginning. Don't tell offensive jokes. I learn just as much from people who are not great as people who are. But what I want to talk to you about today is what would make you a better presenter. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to ask you to talk to the people at your table. So the question, what better means? Have I got one of those little... No. You define what better means. So for some people in this room, being better is going to be, I'm more confident. For some people in this room, being better is going to be more entertaining. For some people in this room, being better is going to mean not actually sitting up all night the night before going, have I got everything, have I got everything, have I got everything? Because no matter how good you are, that could still be something that happens to you. I have very good friends who present professionally who literally do not sleep the night before. They just don't, no matter how big or small it is. So the question is, what would make you a better presenter? Talk to the people on your table, and then I'll ask you, what are the kinds of things you need? Because I'm a bit over people turning up and giving me what they think I need rather than what I actually need. So if you'd like to get what you want out of this, tell me what would make you better, and then we'll set the agenda based on that. Cool? Yeah? I'll give you 2 minutes, which I'll half time with a half of a timer. Thanks. Go. Music would be great. Thank you. These are my... 2 minutes is gone. Sorry. Quick as that, wasn't it? Amazing. These are tingshaw bells. They apparently, someone who actually reads whatever language this is told me that the words inside here are essentially peace and happiness and love. I use them because even when we stop the music, people kind of don't hear it because you're in you're absorbed. And I hate interrupting you because part of why you're here is to network with each other. And I want to give you value, so sorry. If you hear these, you'll know it's time to kind of wrap up. So tell me, let's get a sense, what is it that you want? Look, you've got... Yes! What is it that would make you a better presenter? Didn't I see your hand?
No, that was me.
Oh, it's your hand.
I'm happy to say. Kim and I were discussing about how to be more effective, so getting our message across.
Yeah.
We've got all these awesome ideas. We've got all these awesome ideas in our head, and we wanted to kind of get the message out there, so we're speeding along and did I miss something, you know?
Yep.
Just getting a more effective message out there.
Okay, beautiful. Is that about structure? Partly to go
Partly.
This first, then that, and then the other thing?
Partly, but because we're so excited about our message.
Yeah.
Did we miss something?
Sometimes I get this thing where you kind of go, doesn't everybody get how important this is? Why do I have to explain it? You know, children are important. You know, business is important. Loving what you do is important. How can I have to explain this stuff? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Exactly.
We'll see what we can give you. Next, door, because you were so quick to put your hand up, and I.
Yeah, I'm piggybacking on that a little bit. When you're really passionate about what you're doing, and you've got so much content, I seem to want to give as much value as I can.
Yeah.
And the last couple of feedback forms we've had when we've done workshops is that we've got too much content done too quickly. But I have a bit of a gap there for me because I'm wanting to give them everything I've got. I seem to fail to do the pregnant pauses. I just want to say, I want to give you more, I want to give you more, I want to give you more. And they're like, no, it's done too much and it's too quick. I'm like, oh.
So you're a professional trainer, or you just do courses as a side thing to what you do?
No, it's part of what I do, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So it's part of your job description.
Yes.
Excellent, wonderful. Too much too quickly. I know it's hard, isn't it?
And when
You
you're
can only
really
have 4 hours.
And when you're really passionate about it as well.
Yeah, I've never had a problem being too passionate about something. I'm so dry. I'm so ordinary. And exactly, I know.
Just adding to that, it's actually just talking to you.
Talking too quickly? I reckon just let them catch up. One of the things I'm very strong on, and Andy said it earlier, is people want you to be real. And I found over time, there are some techniques for slowing down talking, but what I've found over time is you find the people who get you Does it make sense? And so I know I don't work particularly well with certain kinds of audiences, but I work smashingly with other kinds of audiences. People just want you to be real, as Andy said, and one of my big things is be more you. I ran a public program about 2 weeks ago, 7th and 8th of May. I was working with a senior woman from ex-major bank. No, the bank's not ex, she's ex from the bank, if that makes sense. And she had this light bulb moment where she realised that the reason she had been not as good as she could be as a presenter was because she was trying to be someone else. She was trying to be garrulous and extroverted and excited and gestures all over the place, and she wasn't comfortable doing that because she's one of those. In another life, I would have reckoned she'd have been a nun or a monk. You know, just the most calm, just serene kind of person. And she's trying to be, and of course it's not working, it's not congruent, it doesn't work for her. So yeah, absolutely. I don't try to talk slow anymore, but there are some techniques. Do you want to know what the technique is? Here's number one piece of value. If you want to talk slower, drop the tone of your voice. So get the pitch down. If you speak low, you have to speak slow. And if you speak high, you're trying to find that your voice accelerates. Just do a quick demo on yourselves. Try and speak slowly but high and see how hard it is. And then try and speak fast but very, very deep. Take a moment. I'm going to give you a minute. You don't have to talk to anybody else. You just have to say, and the words you can say is, what would make me be a better presenter? That'll do. That's all we need to say. Watch how, by dropping your tone, it actually affects your breathing and your voice speed. Cool? 1 minute, go. Yeah. I reckon you had enough time to do that, didn't you? I heard some of you do it and some of you did it in your heads. So excellent. Good question. That's a tip. We will come back to yours. I'm not abandoning them. I just was like, this is the best, the easiest, fastest thing to answer that question. You've got one about what would make you better?
We were talking, so we had just confidence in general.
Confidence in general. Is there any more specific than that?
We're all just saying having more confidence.
Yep, just generally more confidence. Is it confidence when you start, confidence in the middle, confidence at the end?
Confidence at the beginning.
Confidence at the beginning? Yeah. People tell me when they have confidence at the beginning, then the rest becomes easy. So there are some people I know who just rehearsed the first 4 sentences. She didn't want to talk into the microphone. Okay, good, excellent.
Sorry, that was
Yep.
my personal one was, I have trouble with self-promoting. Yeah, sorry. Just what you're saying at the beginning, I do have that. Well, if you know me, you'll know I'm good.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, and add to that a dose of, and this is so important, why would I have to explain it to you?
So how to do that, I guess, in a way that feels natural.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm very uncertain how to pull that together.
Yeah. It's a common problem for women, I find. I don't know why. Self-promo, and that particular marker needs more ink. Self-promo. Now, I heard over behind me somebody talking about knowing your topic. Was that an answer to the confidence question?
I think it would. If you know what you're talking about, it's whatever the topic is, know your industry or whatever it may be you're talking about. So you're presenting whatever it may be, you've got to know what you're talking about.
That would be a rational answer, wouldn't it? You would seem, since you know about it, you figure that people, if you know about it, then you wouldn't be undermining in confidence. Unfortunately, how many of you know their topic? Just give me a sense. If you had to speak about the stuff you do every day, how many could know that they could, get together 10 points, yeah? How many of you would feel very happy standing up and talking about that? Just look at the difference in the number of hands. It's kind of weird, isn't it? You think you should, but it's not like that.
Yeah, if you know you're a car mechanic, let's say, and you're a qualified mechanic, and you're going to do a presentation on the mechanics of a car, I can't understand why you couldn't stand up and present that. If you know the industry,
Do you want to know? Do you know the brain? The levels of the brain. There's right at the very, like in the middle of the brain. So if you think of a cross section, going across here like that. There's the brain, the centre of the brain. We call it the reptilian brain or the amygdala. It's the lizard brain. It's the part of you that goes fight or flight. Like that's all it does. Fight, flight and territoriality. That's it. Then there's another level, which is the limbic system, where we feel emotions, we feel fuzzy, we feel lovely, we feel warm. It's kind of the mammalian brain, they say. And it's where sound and smell go straight in. So have you ever smelled a smell and gone, oh, I remember my grandmother, or I really want some bread now. You know how real estate agents, they bake bread and they do coffee, and I went to a place a couple of weeks ago where they had a different scent burning in every room because they're wanting your limbic system to feel at home in this thing. Then there's the final layer, the cerebral cortex, the grey matter, the smart brain, the rational brain, which is what you and I are agreeing totally should be in charge when you're standing on the platform. But what happens is we have all these things that kick us back down to the lizard brain, which is really, I just don't want to be here. So the lizard brain kicks in if you hold your breath, for example. I'm not going to ask you to do it now. I'm going to ask you to breathe deeply. Because I used to do it like, just hold your breath and see how you feel. And then for the next 5 minutes, people would be going, I don't know, I just don't feel good. So please breathe deeply. But if you do, and I watch people. I'm an improviser. I stand on stage and make. Can I say? I'll ask permission. I stand on stage and I make shit up. A bit like I'm doing now, with a base of knowledge. But we make stuff up. We make up entire plays. And I watch people who are brand new improvisers, and they're standing up there and they're going, "Oh my god!" And they're actually holding their breath. And then, to make matters worse, they have a little voice in their head going, "Oh, what the have I got myself into? How did I think I was going to do this?" And then they get the other voice, which you probably know very well, Chris, saying, "But you should be good at this. Why the hell are you annoyed? Well, you know your stuff. What the hell?" So basically, they're just nagging themselves and they're making themselves feel shit, and they're not breathing. So then it doesn't matter how well they know the mechanics.
Yeah, well, so what you're saying there, though, I'm a builder.
Yeah.
I can talk about construction and soccer all night. I'm qualified in them, right? Now, if I still did a presentation on construction and soccer, I'm not going to bullshit. I'll have to mix them up because I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, please let me be clear, not bullshit.
Yeah, so
I've spent a week preparing for today.
I couldn't stand up and mix them up and not know it was right. I couldn't do that.
No.
Because someone might come back to me from a builder who knows his stuff. I know he's in the room as a good builder. If I give a bit of wrong information here, he's going to jump all over me.
Yeah.
So, and I've done that at speaking. I think about that. I think, shit, get it right, because there's people in this room who are professional, more experienced than me, and some come back.
Yeah.
So I've never, ever.
So how many of you have the same feeling that Chris has, that, you know, you've got to get this right? The people in your rooms that you're speaking to, the boards you're speaking to, your customers, your colleagues, the people at business networks, the people in your organisation. How many of you have that same sense of, I've got to get this right because I can't just make this up? Yeah? Absolutely, yeah.
There's a consequence to that.
Is there a consequence to that? What's the consequence?
You've got to know what your audience, who your audience is.
You've got to know who your audience is.
If you're dealing, like you said, as a builder, but you're trying to teach builders, you've got to know your stuff. But if you're talking to home handyman, you don't have to know the intricate stuff. You just got to know what they need to see from.
I did a job, a series of coaching sessions with an exceptionally senior man at Pfizer drugs. You know, Pfizer. They make pretty much all the pharmaceuticals you probably consume right now. They make Physine, they make Zoloft, they make what's the drug for the boys? Viagra, thank you. I was going to say Voltaren, but it's not Voltaren. So Pfizer, they're a major multinational. This guy had been working for them for like 25 years. And had been constantly promoted up the ladder and given more and more responsibility. So he had something like 300 people reporting to him. He got so stressed out when he got to the front of the room because he had to go and speak at things, you know, head of, I can't remember what, HR and public relations and something else and something else and something else. He had exactly that thought in his mind. I have to know everything. Now, how can you know everything when there's 300 people in the 200 people work for you and you trust them and you've delegated? You can't know everything. And frankly, I know that I don't know everything. But what I do know is where to find it. And what he knew was how to find it. One of the things that I believe makes the difference between the presenters who stand up here and love it and the presenters who really go, geez, it's going to be hard, is the expectations we put on ourselves. So yeah, if you're talking to people you know already, that home handyman, they're probably not going to ask you an exceptionally complex question. That can let you off the hook. But what the challenge is letting yourself off the hook enough to be able to go at one point, you know what, that's an excellent question and I don't know the answer right now. Give me your email address, I'll let you know. You have to let yourself off the... Are you already doing it, see? You know the secret. So what would make you a better presenter, Chris?
I was in front of a heap of builders last night in Sydney, trying to recruit builders to come on board with us. And I'm talking to builders who are just like me. I'm thinking, I've got to be prepared here. And a couple of questions came to me which were a bit tricky. I said, you know what, I'll come back to you, give me your details. And
see, you already know. So you don't need anything? You don't have an answer to this question?
It was under pressure because there was people waiting to see me. I was on my own as well. My partner wasn't with me. So they were queuing up and thinking, God, these people come from everywhere. But it went good. We got through it. It was fine. But I said, mate, put your details in there. I'll definitely give you a call and come back to you on that one.
Excellent. So what's the answer to this question?
I know what you're doing.
So what would make you a better presenter would be to know what you're doing?
I just think personally be organised, make some notes beforehand.
Yeah.
Have a look at what you're going to say.
So that's advice for someone else. What do you need?
What do I need? Probably a bit of help sometimes. Someone with me.
Excellent.
That would have helped me last night.
Beautiful.
If my business partner couldn't be there last night, it was in Sydney.
Logistics. You need help. You need an assistant. I want a wife.
Yeah.
What's saying now?
I just want a wife.
Last night, what happened with me, I was told there wasn't that many people going to be there, and there was a shitload of people there.
It's a terrible thing.
Wow.
He was told there was going to be hardly anyone there and a shitload of people turned up. I hate that. Suddenly you're like, oh my God, I'm more successful than I think I am. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add to our list of what would make you a better presenter so I can give you what you need?
Yeah, I think at times you can possibly be over-prepared, over-planned, over-anal.
So that would make you a better presenter if you were...
No, I am that person.
Oh, you are
and
over-prepared?
therefore, when I'm presenting, I can be as boring as batshit because all I want to do is follow my plan, get my information and my knowledge transferred, and everyone can see.
It's similar to this too much too quickly, and it's because you're over. How long is over preparing?
Well, if you're doing an hour's presentation and you've sat and learnt it verbatim, for instance.
You've done that?
I've done that.
I love you. I don't think I could ever do that.
So being able to read the crowd and roll with the direction that the general conversation is happening in, I think is
really important.
Help,
absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
I have the opposite, so...
Underprepared?
Oh, yeah, that too. But, my thing is generally kind of going with the moment.
Yes.
And...
Forgetting the content.
Yeah.
Forgetting the content so you don't remember it, or forgetting the content
No.
Oh, damn, I'll throw that out the window and what I'm going to do is
No,
this.
just going with the moment, caught up in the moment, you know, and the other stuff becomes...
You probably tell great stories, don't you?
Fantastic stories.
Yeah, and at the end people go, why did he tell that story? I know, it was great, I laughed, but why did he tell that story?
People have a good time.
Okay, so it's kind of getting off track?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Now, some of these won't speak to you. Yeah. You're just scratching your head. Good, Derek. It's all right. I won't put you on the spot. Yep.
What is a good speaker? So, sort of saying...
That's an excellent question. Why don't we take a minute and just define what a good speaker is for you guys? So I'm going to ask you two questions. What makes a good speaker and what makes a bad speaker? Discuss, and then I'll ask you to answer it. Cool? Yep. Good speaker, bad speaker. 2 minutes. Go. Oops. Okay. I just had, just to give you a sense of getting off track thing, and in terms of preparation, because I'm an improviser and because I have 20 plus, actually 1986, nearly 30 years of doing this kind of stuff, I tend to have in my mind, getting off track, I have in my mind one outcome. My outcome for you as an audience, because I haven't done a deep needs analysis, my outcome for you is to give you something of value. And now I kind of know what kind of value you want, I have changed my plan. That doesn't mean I haven't prepared. Believe me, I prepared. There's a truckload of things in the back, just in case you need it. Here's the story. So my outcome for you guys is to give you something useful. I just had a quick chat with Steve, and what I'm going to do after we've answered this question, I'm giving you time to think about it. After we've answered this question, I'm going to ask 3 of you to volunteer to come up here and be live demos. Does that make sense? You won't have to be prepared. We'll just ask you to talk, introduce yourself. So it'll be data you know. But when we're answering this question now about who's the what makes a good presenter and what makes a bad one, you can think whether you want to be that person. Now, Steve and I had this. He went, we don't want the people who are always gonna put their hand up. We want the people who wouldn't normally, but are kind of like, I'll be brave in front of this intimate group. I'll be brave because it will give me value. Some of you don't. You don't have to, but if you want to,
and maybe you should.
And if you think it would make a difference, if it would give a breakthrough to your business, but not right now. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 minutes to think about it because some of you will take a second to warm up to the idea. We will be gentle and we will look at what is it that makes you a good presenter. So it's not going to be, you're just ugly. We're not going to do that. Have you seen the Hillary Clinton quote about if you talk about people about why they're ugly, we just think you're an idiot? That's not what it's about. It's about whether you believe in the stuff. And Hillary Clinton has a lovely quote on Facebook that's going around at the moment. But first, while you're thinking about it, and some of you have already decided that they will be coming up. I'd love to have 50 people say yes. There's only 30 in the room, so
I'll select them.
If nobody volunteers, then Steve's gonna be gently tough loving you. But okay, so talk to me first about what makes a good presenter, because this information will then be able to be fed to these people. You're a good presenter because you're doing this thing we mentioned. What makes a good presenter? Connected to their audience. Okay. How do you know people are connected to their audience?
You feel that you're on the journey, you're invested with what they're saying.
Ah, so as an audience member, you can feel that connection. No.
Yeah, as an audience member, you might be up for that connection. Sorry,
as a presenter, you can feel that connection too. There is some kind of energetic thing, isn't there? Excellent. Yes. And the audience feels that.
Yes.
Okay, good, connected to your audience. What else?
But also flowing on from that, being able to manage the audience successfully, because some people come with their own agenda or...
Oh, yes.
So being able to then keep on task as well, while...
without being perceived as a mean person.
Yeah.
I had another word in my head, but I thought it probably wasn't appropriate to stay in. So manage the audience and keep connected. Yeah, absolutely. What else? What else makes a good one? I bet you've got so many more about what makes a bad one, haven't you? The human mind is really weird. Ask people what worked, they go, oh, I don't know, but I did really badly at this. You go, really?
Knowing the context. So
Knowing the context, which is the point that Chris was making earlier, absolutely.
so it's just about the facts, or whether it's about inspiring or...
So it doesn't have to be facts. Sometimes it can be, here's 27 stories that tell you the lifetime of a man who recovered from adversity and a woman who helped him get there.
I think you've also got to, if you're giving a speech, you've got to be able to talk to all the audience, not just
Yes.
one side or the middle. You've got to look at
Yep.
everyone.
Yep.
Or talk as if you're talking to everybody.
Yeah, you kind of want everybody in the audience to feel like you were actually personally talking to them. Yeah. Some people can do that just amazingly. What else? What makes a good presenter? A strong voice. What's a strong voice, David?
Yeah, it's a bit hard to explain, but yeah,
Is it? It's not one like this? You wouldn't want someone to give you a presentation like this? There's plenty of people out there doing presentations like this. they're probably selling something we don't want to buy. Okay, a strong voice. Yeah. So there's something, but there is certainly something. You're saying strong. Other people might say different words, but essentially the voice, the tonal quality, can be very important.
Projection.
Yeah. An authority in the voice, absolutely.
Passion in the voice.
Oh, passion.
About what they're talking about.
Yeah, they got to care, don't they? If they don't care, why would you care? Anything else? Confidence. They're confident? Yeah, that's right. The audience, whether the audience is confident or not, we will find out. Okay? Anything else? Knowledgeable. They've got to know their topic. Yep. All right.
In the selling environment, they need to make sure that they're using the closing tools and making the sale and the presentation.
Closing tools. If you read Dan Pink's new book, To Sell is Human, he says actually closing's so old-fashioned. It's more about relationships and stuff. It's worth a read. It's only short. He does things like follow a fuller brush man around. Do you know fuller brushes in America? They basically, they used to go door to door and sell brooms and dusters and that kind of stuff. There are 2 left in the US, and Dan Pink actually follows one round for a week in San Francisco, I think. And it's really interesting because it's a real traditional sales with the closing and that sort of stuff. And this guy's been in this business for 45 years. And yeah, and Dan Pink's basic stuff is like, yeah, closing's important, but relationship's more important. It's an interesting thing. But yeah, if they're selling if they've got a script and they're not following it, sorry, baby. Yeah, cool. What about bad presenters? We've all seen one.
Not this morning.
Hopefully, not this morning. No. And away in the past somewhere, you would have remembered, burned into your memory banks, a bad speaker.
Death by PowerPoint.
Death by PowerPoint. Tell me about it. Yep.
Too much info.
Yep. Hang on. Death by PowerPoint. Too much info. That's a very good point. Yeah. It's kind of fun to talk like that. Too much jargon. Yep. Without explaining. It's not a problem that they use jargon, but there needs to be kind of a common understanding here, which is back to the connection with the audience. Somebody had something else I saw it. Sorry, what was that? Sorry, what was that? Absolutely. Where they don't listen. I've got a personal one, which is I've got a script and I'm going to deliver it, and I have no idea whether you actually want to hear this. That's one of my bugbears. You still get useful information out of that, but it annoys me.
No interaction.
No interaction. Yep. Oh.
It's the opposite of the one has full interaction with the audience.
Thank you. Anything else? Too technical, absolutely, which lines up with the jargon thing. Runs over time. Yeah.
I think there's a whole lot of environmental issues, like when you got up, you adjusted the sound for the speaker to be aware of those things.
Yep.
The temperature, the light. Is it after lunch?
Absolutely.
Say, after lunch on day 4 of it.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not repeating the questions or what people are saying. Are you actually hearing over here when they're speaking? Yeah, okay, good. So if you don't hear what they've said, let me know. Because I just wrote down one word, but there were some other priceless things about sound. One of the biggest things I find is if people are hot or cold, you can't be good. Like they have to be, there's a thing. And any of you who've run training programs will know, the most important thing of all is morning tea. Morning tea's bad. Your feedback forms will talk about, well, you could have, it was a cold day and you gave us ice blocks. And it was a hot day and you gave us hot food. What are you thinking? It's really important to people. Context matters. You change the context, different things become important. Anything else that's about a bad speaker?
Going off topic?
Going off topic, or David, I would never believe that's true. But okay, going off topic, which is interesting because some of these things are coming back to what you have already said you would want to be better at. I can say this, if you ever go off topic, you have a story and you find you're going, oh, shit, I'm telling a great story, they're laughing a lot, but what's the point? Here's the thing I would say to you. You then have a sentence, and the sentence says, please write this down. I'm telling you this story because. And then you find a link. I believe personally you can link anything to anything. You can tell a story about your brand new kittens, and you can go, and the reason I'm telling you this is because we don't do X, but the kittens do X. And we need to do more of that. So I have 2 kittens. They're just, I bought them, I adopted them, to be politically correct, I adopted them for $350. So I bought them 2 weeks ago. And I am absolutely, what I'm most interested in with these kittens is, I compared them to my 16-year-old cat who died about 4 weeks ago. She was so set in her ways. Nothing could be changed. You know, if you moved her food bowl 6 inches to the left, she was in conniptions. If you opened the back door and left it open, instead of just opening the cat door, she was in conniptions. Like, she could not deal with change. These 2 kittens, first of all, they were 6 weeks in the Cat Protection Society. I brought them home. Within 45 minutes, they were like, oh yeah, this is home now. I opened a new door in the house. 10 minutes, yeah, this is home now. Every day I expose them to something. I just changed their cat litter. They have not noticed. I've just changed the food they've had. They're just adapting to change all the time. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story is because we, in this room, are change agents. The fact that you're even here in this room right now, hearing the buzz of the projector and thinking about what makes a good presenter, the reason you're here is because you know that change happens. But a lot of people are like my 16-year-old cat, Phoebe. I want change nothing. And change is hard. So the reason I'm telling you the kitten story is because we all need to appreciate that even if it's easy for us, other people take time to adapt to change. And the more change you expose them to, the more likely they are to be changed. So my kittens are getting change every single day. The first time that took them 45 minutes, the second time it took them 10, the third time they were fine with it. It's going to be like that in your organisations. It's going to be like that with your presentations. That we're going to say, why don't you try this? And you're going to go, well, that's really hard. I don't like it. But once you've introduced that change, and then another change, and another change, and another type change. So you can see you can go off topic as long as at some point you go, so the reason this is relevant to you is that's your magic formula. Okay? You got it written down? You get there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Billy Connolly. Oh. If you want to be a good presenter, watch comedians. Eddie Izzard, I watched a 1989 thing of Eddie Izzard yesterday. I was just blown away. If you haven't seen Eddie Izzard do the Death Star Canteen, go to YouTube. It's worth 7 minutes. It really is. It'll change your life. Okay, so going off topic and not explaining why they're off topic, just because they're being self-indulgent, I've got a platform, I'm going to go off topic, not good. Going off topic and then having people go, bing, oh, wow, I can learn this from something else, that's where it becomes fun. Anything else? Yeah. You've forgotten it now, haven't you?
No, recently
Yeah.
I was asked to go to church for my best friend, so I went. I don't go. And it was 3 hours long, and it was doomsday. And I wanted to go off and jump off a bridge by the end of it. And I thought it was the worst presentation. And considering it was, I'm not talking about religion, considering it was, you know, you'd want to go to a church and you'd probably want to be, I don't know, uplifted and inspired or something away. I walked out, I was so depressed. I thought, oh my God, like, literally, like, really? Yeah. That was just awful.
Mm-hmm. So, what should I write up there? Don't go to church. It's funny. I did this. I had the same experience. I went to my sister's daughter's, so my niece's christening, and I too came out kind of going, that was an opportunity to be inspirational. What happened? I mean, how many of you wish that you had 3 hours of someone's attention to inspire them to inspire them to buy your product, to inspire them to be on your wavelength values-wise, to inspire them to be part of your stuff. And yeah, it can be a wasted opportunity. So I don't know. I don't know what word to write there, but... Doomsday. Ah, okay. No takeaway.
Oh, that was good.
We should give you a topic. We should give you I brought chocolate. It's a brunch toasted coconut bar. I bring them as incentives to make people talk, but I haven't had a need to do that. You guys have been really interactive, so thank you. But I do have chocolate, so please keep on being exceptionally good, and I'll give you some. I've got Chupa Chups as well. I don't know if they're gluten-free, but those people who are gluten-free will know. I trust you to look after yourselves. So now is the time where we're going to say, okay, 3 people. Who wants to be? You're not going to have to do anything hard. You're going to just come up and say who you are. And we will, as an audience, be looking for what are you doing right? What are your strengths? I'm not going to ask people to say, do this, like you change what you're doing. We've defined what a good and bad presenter is. We've talked about what some people, and some of you who come up will probably be people who've said, I need to be better at this. But what I'm going to ask this audience to give you is feedback that you won't hear from anybody else. What are you doing right? Cool? So you will be, and I will look after you. Honestly, I will. And Steve will be there, giving tough love if he needs to.
I'll look after you.
Excellent. Who wants to do it? Excellent. Kim wants to do it. What you were one of the people who said you were really super confident and excellent and happy, yeah? No? Okay, so Kim, come on up. Come on up.
Good on you, Kim.
Yeah, excellent. One more.
Go on, Robert.
Awesome.
Perfect. Rhonda and... Oh, Terry. Oh, Robert?
Robert does.
Apparently he does, but Terry apparently does too.
Well, we've got a Smith & Sons person up here.
Ah,
so
only one from each
we
company,
probably do need one from the table in the north-eastern corner of the room.
North-eastern corner. Don't ask me to...
Good on you, Robert. Put your hands together, guys. It takes a lot of courage. So, good on you.
Don't think of it as sweets. Think of it as a trophy. It's purely a measurement system for how good you've been today. All right, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to attempt to answer the questions that you initially said, techniques for doing these things, while we're giving feedback to these individuals. That's my job. Your job is, as each person presents themselves, you're looking for what are they doing right? What is great about this person? Because they only have to be themselves. They just have to say, this is me, this is what I do. 30 seconds, not much. There is research. If you've read the book Blink, it's in there, Malcolm Gladwell, great read. There is research that says within 2 seconds of video, you can judge how... They've done it with university professors. They compared a term's worth of lectures with 2 seconds of video, and the student ratings were the same. Within 2 seconds, you can know how good a person's going to be in terms of who they are. Now, when you introduce yourself, tell us the context in which you present, because presenting to builders ain't going to be the same as presenting to homeowners, ain't going to be the same as presenting to a network that you've built, yeah? Or church, for example. So, yeah, cool. You're looking for what are they doing right? Please write down at least 2 things they're doing right so we can give them a barrage of love of how good they are at certain things. If you two want to sit so you don't have to feel like you're in the spotlight, I'm going to turn this off so we can... Did I push the wrong button? No, there you go. Just didn't want to have you having lights in your face. Okay, go. Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us.
My name's Rhonda Grant. I normally present in the context of a business networking group. I am from the Shellhaven Smith & Sons. My husband owns it and I'm the office manager. I have a background in accounting. I'm a chartered accountant and at the moment I'm pretty much looking after the office, helping out with quotes, estimating, and I think that's about it.
Give her a round of applause. It's all right. It's all right. You did great. You did great. Now stand. So, What did she do right? What's she good at? What do you see immediately?
Very well presented,
Yep.
very lovely smile, and she was gesturing.
Yep, absolutely.
Honest. She was very
Honest.
and believable.
Absolutely.
Honest the way she came across.
And brave. She was the first one up, yeah? Give her a round of applause for being the first one up. Anything else?
The energy in her voice.
Energy in her voice, absolutely. Voice was strong.
Seemed to have a structure, so she actually went through the points.
Yep. And did it in A, B, C, answered the questions that we set you. Good work. Excellent. Anything else?
Great eye contact across the room.
Yes.
Turning and looking across the room.
Yeah, you generalised your eye contact. Excellent. You're well dressed too, by the way. I don't know if you did that on purpose or whether it's just who you are.
Part of the policy.
Sorry, was that?
Part of the policy.
Part of the policy? Okay, excellent, fantastic. Anything else? Anything else she did well? How did you feel about it?
A little bit nervous. I can feel my heart going faster, and
Yeah.
you just have to try and stay on topic and try and think of the next thing you're going to say.
Because you think you're an expert on yourself. You think you've got years and years, as Chris would say, years and years of doing this. But then they go, introduce you, go, oh my God, introduce myself. You did exceptionally well. Is there anything you would have changed?
Probably not using the word I think I went
Oh.
something.
Did anybody notice Did you think it was excessive? 3 people. The rest of people went, no, I wasn't listening to that. I was watching you and going, what are you doing right? What are you doing right? What you preload your audience with, by the way, makes a difference. So if you get up and say, I'm feeling really nervous, could you just, notice how nervous I am? People are going to go, oh my God, she's nervous. You get up and go, I would love you to understand the important things that I'm about to tell you. At the end, I'm going to ask you, what are the 3 most important things you got from what I said today? Then the focus is not on you, it's on them. So there's a difference between being self-conscious and audience-focused. So some of the stuff we talked about that was bad presenters, there's a list much longer than that, by the way, and one of the things that constantly happens with my clients is the people who get nervous the most, who go, oh my God, my voice was wobbly, and I don't know what to say, my mind's a blank, and blah, 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 blah. They're noticing what's happening in here rather than what's happening out there. And when you go, this is why people say, picture the audience naked. It doesn't work for me. My powers of picturing nude people, I'd rather see them nude, some of them, not all of them. But this is the picturing nude is essentially about that, about putting the focus out there. Do you want to do it again and change whatever it was you needed to change, now that you know what you're going to say? First tip, breathe. Breathe right down here. Ever done belly breathing stuff? Yoga, dance, meditation. When you stand, they talk about belly breathing. Do that. Do that now. Excellent. I think this is still on because it's making a noise. Ladies and gentlemen, a loud round of applause. Let's hear it for the next speaker.
Thank you very much. So my name's Rhonda Grant. In the context I normally speak in, it's at business networking groups. So I normally have an audience full of people just like yourselves, interested in what I'm about to say. I'm from the Shoalhaven Smith & Sons office. Down there I'm the office manager. I work with my husband David. I've got a background in accounting, so I'm quite analytical and...
Did you see the strength of the second time around? This is why I say to people, you must rehearse. The audience, where your words and your body are out of sync, I'm talking confident, but I'm not confident, people are going to believe your body. We heard in your tonality that you were way more confident that second time. So when you practice it, you've got to practice having a strong voice and a strong pose. But brilliant work, yeah? And a massive change for just having had 10 seconds to get used to standing here. One of the things I always do is I go, come check. I came here last night and just checked out the room to know how big it is, to know how many tables there are, that kind of stuff. If you can do that before you speak, do it. Just makes you know that it's going to be home when you get up there. Thank you very much. Excellent work. Kim, you want to go second? Excellent. Well, what we're looking for is, what is she doing well? Yep. And she knows she's protected. This is a group that looks after her.
Hello everyone, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Kim Bray. I am the Manager of Strategic Planning at Kiama Council. Sounds very dry, but it is actually very interesting. What I do is I look after the higher order planning for the whole of the Kiama area. I have to look after how much commercial land there is, how I deal with agricultural land and residential areas.
Excellent. What did Kim do right?
She was very fluent.
Very fluent?
Sweeping again from one side of the room to
Yeah,
the other.
yep, excellent. Certainly gave eye contact. Confident, very strong. Yes, absolutely. You've done this before, Kim. You speak at groups like this.
I speak at a lot of groups. I speak at residents, so it could be community members, and I
Yeah.
have to pitch it to them. I speak in front of council and to councillors,
Yeah.
state government.
And the takeaway from this, if you're going to do it, practice it. Yeah? Kim can be this confident because she knows what she has to say. She has to say, I'm a manager of this and I do that, and it sounds this, but it is actually that. She's done it 50 times. What a surprise that she doesn't feel... There was no hint of nervousness. Were you in any way nervous?
Yeah, vaguely. It's a different, I guess.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
There's a saying that you can turn those butterflies to get them to form to fly in formation. If you're not nervous, you're not caring. You've got to be a little bit nervous because the adrenaline starts to pump. Anything else that Kim did right? Very methodical, very clear, absolutely, yes. Structure, yes. Anything else?
Lovely smile.
Lovely smile. And she gestured. Having one of these is really hard. I'm not going to put it to my mouth because it'll probably just cause the thing to go bad. But having one of these, if you can get away from one of these and have one of these, do it. That means for women, wear pants or a belt, a dress with a belt, because you have to put this on your back. You can stuff it in the back of your pantyhose if you're wearing pantyhose. But you have to remember to wear pantyhose. So be aware that speaking requires a special wardrobe. I don't think we even need to get Kim to do it again because she was... Do you want to do it again?
No.
Excellent. At lunch, you can just ask her to introduce herself to you. Yeah? How's that? Excellent. Thank you very much. You can do this.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Robert Felino Gullo, and I work for a company called Hayco Engineering. It's part of the WG Group. We're a local manufacturing firm. We're celebrating 50 years this year. I don't really have to present to anyone. It's my first time, but I would think I'd be talking to a workshop full of guys about the current work situation in the area, which is not that good. So, yeah, that's about all I can say, and think.
Okay, what did he do right? Given this was his absolute first time, that was pretty amazing for the first time.
Tony looked natural and relaxed.
Natural and relaxed, absolutely. Were you nervous? Very nervous. Well, take it from this audience, you didn't look like you were nervous. If you'd actually had preparation time, oh my God. Move over, Andy Smith. It's the same haircut. Yeah, that's what it is. That's it, yeah. What else is he doing right?
I thought, yeah, you were confident right through it and everything like that, but I really noticed when you got to the end and you got to reflect back on it, you got very self-critical again.
Yes, yeah.
You know, like I could see you just crawl back into that cave that you come out of at the
Yeah.
start. Sort of.
So at the beginning, you kind of knew what you were going to say, and then you got to the, oh, I hope they stop it now. Yeah. And the good thing is when you're prepared, this will be even easier. But the one thing I'd say was your hand was behind your back.
You need
Yeah.
to feel, you need to be probably a bit more relaxed with your hands in front of you. When you put your hand behind your back, your shoulders shrugged in a little bit.
Yeah.
You could see you were withdrawing yourself.
Check this out for me. Let me just put this down. I'm going to get all of you to do this. Can you just all stand up for a second? I'm going to ask you to do this. Put your two hands out in front of you. That's easy, yeah? Push them further than is a bit comfortable. Don't break yourself, look after yourself. Now I'm going to ask you to push your chin forward. And if you could just lean a little bit. Now, say as well as you possibly can while staying in this position, say, I am supremely confident. I am supremely confident. Do you believe it? We don't believe it either. Now put yourself in the position where you could say, I am supremely confident, and feel it. Notice both feet are on the ground. This is not supremely confident. This is flirtatious, but it's not supremely confident. Both feet on the ground. Here's a tip that one of my clients taught me that I have used over and over with presentation people. Imagine there is a light going out of your head right up to heaven. So it pulls your head up, yeah? That same light is going down through your spine, through your pelvis, down through the floor to the centre of the earth. So you are 100% anchored in the middle of the universe. Now, send a jet out. I hope you're doing it. Yes, you're doing it. Good boy. Send a jet to the corner of the room, the four corners of the room. This is just that's that same light through you, down, out to the four corners of the room. Now, this gives you confidence in this room. If you want to feel supremely confident, throw that jet to Fiji, to Antarctica. I don't know what way I'm pointing, but you know. Throw it to Newcastle and maybe Dubbo. Now, some of you will be going, oh my God, I didn't realise I could feel so powerful. Some of you are going, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. That's all right. This is how you can feel supremely confident. So now say, I'm supremely confident. I'm supremely confident. How much more do you believe it? Your body speaks louder than anything else. So when you believe it, your body knows and the audience knows. Now, you were incredibly confident the first time. Stay in that position. Throw the darts out. Throw the light. Do it again. Now tell me your name, I've forgotten. Robert. Okay? Robert's going to do it again. And when you're finished, just stop. Okay?
Morning everyone, I'm Robert Felino Gullo and I work at a local engineering company called Hayco Engineering. My role in the business is I'm a purchasing officer and the company's celebrating 50 years this year, so it's a great feat for the area.
Good, huh? How'd you feel by just stopping? I was like, oh good, he's finished. I know to clap now. It's great. Because when you stop, the audience goes, oh, now I know how to clap. And if they don't clap, you can always go, that's a cue for you to clap. They laugh, and then they usually clap. Yeah? Good work. Congratulations. Excellent. For a first time, that was pretty good, huh? I'm going to give this over this way because I don't know how to turn it off. Excellent. We have.
You guys were awesome too.
Yeah.
Good on you.
But thank you very much for being brave enough to get up, by the way. Can I just have a round of applause for that?
Actually, Cindy, is it okay if we give out a couple of little awards?
Oh, my heavens,
for being
yes.
so brave?
Absolutely.
Because
some books, some Dale Beaumont books.
these are the Millionaire Coach books.
We love Dale Beaumont.
We sure do. Good on you, Rhonda. Well done, guys.
They'll be an excellent read. Which one is it? Millionaire Secrets? Millionaire Coach. Excellent. There'll be some fantastic stories there. Dale interviewed people who were amazing and put them in the book. Millionaire Mindset. He's got a whole series of them. I've got 20 or so left, I think. Yeah? I just want to make sure. All right. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to make sure we've answered all of these questions. But are there any questions you want to ask or observation 15 minutes that you want to ask or do before I zip through these and check that we've answered them? No? Good. Excellent. I'm going to bring this centre stage because I don't want to favour those people. They are very good people, but I don't want to favour them. When I first started becoming a trainer, one of my mentors told me that the first rule of training is that you had to move furniture. And let me say, I have moved so much furniture in my life. I come into a room, it's like, it's not set up properly. I have to reset it. I move everything. They say they'll help you, but they always come 15 minutes after the training starts. You go, that's no use. Do it now. Okay, getting off track. We've dealt with, I talked about that. The biggest thing you want to do with getting off track is know where you're going. Because if you know where you're going, any road will get you there. If you don't know where you're going, any road will also get you there. But if you know that part of your outcome is to expose your product to this audience, then telling any story can say, the reason I'm telling this story is, if you get off track and you know where you're going, you can always come back on track. If you don't, what's the point? So you've got to have one thing. I usually have 1 to 3 things that I need to get out of any session. Often that will be because a client briefs me. In this session, we want people to feel empowered. In this session, we want people to understand the new OH&S regulations. In this session, we want people to make sure that they understand why it's important for them to follow systems. You just need to go, in this session, I want people to X. Set that outcome for yourself. Then at any point, if you wander off track, Or if a question takes you down a rabbit hole, you can actually say, well, the reason I'm answering this question is. Another tip that takes people to ask, people might take you off track because they do a question. Do not approach the person and close. So let's say this wonderful table here have been very, very quiet. Excellent work. Let's say they ask me a question, I come over here and answer it. How do you feel? Let me just turn my body away from you. How do you guys feel? Excluded. How useful is that?
We feel fabulous.
That's right. Well, you're the most attractive table. I have to say, I was magnetically drawn to you. So if someone asks a question, do not walk up to them and close off the rest of the thing. This will take you off track no matter how strong you are. So if someone asks a question, you saw me with Chris, I change sides of the room because I want you to be included. And the first thing I do is, as far as I possibly can, is go, that's fantastic. Let's make sure the rest of the audience feels that's a relevant question for them. Yeah? Because then you're on track. He asked a question about, I don't know, I'm going to make something up here, Chris. He asked a question about the importance of the colour of the pyjamas you wear to bed. And I go, God, that's got nothing to do with everybody else here. So I have to think of a way that makes... Does everybody else feel that sometimes there are choices they have to make that seem irrelevant, but yet they've got to make them? Now, I'll give some examples. Maybe you've got to decide whether you should paint the walls a certain colour. You might have to decide, I don't know, make up some other things. I've got to make it that his question is about more than pyjamas. It's actually about choice. Then I can answer that question, you feel included, and I don't go back to Chris asking a question or the people at the back of the room asking a question until I've answered that and drawn it back to my outcomes. That's why you have to do OH&S. Does that answer your question? Yeah? I've seen people use hopefully that answers your question. I think don't put any doubt in there. If you can ask it, does that answer a question? Or if you think it hasn't, because you can see them squirming in their chair going, well, this is not about pyjamas, and I wanted to ask a question about pyjamas, then you can say, I'm not sure I've answered your question, and I'd be very happy to talk to you at the break about that. So you've got to be so clear on what you're doing, but at the same time, because we talked about the importance of making the audience feel like they were part of it and having rapport. You can't, I've seen arsehole presenters. They kind of work. Sometimes people go, oh, thank God you were an arsehole because that guy was driving me insane. But mostly, I like to be nice. Effective in getting your message across. This comes back to outcome again. I like to say at the beginning, my outcome is to let you do this, help you do this, give you information about that. And I will often use framing is a really important thing. You put a frame at the beginning. My outcome is to get you this. So then at the end you can say, so tell them what you're going to tell them and then come back again. If they're not on board with that outcome, sometimes when I've done long trainings, I've actually said to people, if this isn't what you want, please feel free to leave, I won't be offended. And if you feel it's too much to walk out in the middle of the thing, we'll have a break in 5 minutes where we'll talk about something. Feel free to leave the room at that time and come back in an hour and a half. Because I've been doing it for way too long now to be irrelevant to people. And I know people's time is very valid. And valuable. So yes, effective in getting your message across, you've got to know what your message is, and you've actually got to say, I've got lots of stuff I can give you, more that I can give you about this, email me, etc. I have a thing there, I'll tell you in a second. Being over-prepared, stop it. Just stop it. If you know your outcome, you've got to at some point go, this is all the time I have. And you've got to know your outcome. Because those three go right there. Too much too quickly. Slow down, choose the one important thing, come back. Offer them videos online afterwards, offer them a book, offer them a website, whatever.
So I just want to go to the previous point about being prepared and time-wise. What happens when you engage with questions and they just keep coming, and people want to keep asking you questions? It's difficult because you can't necessarily stop them because each question has a...
Yeah, absolutely. I would usually, I'm just going to make something up here. This is what if people keep on asking you questions and it just keeps going on and on? I would think of 3 different things. One of them is to actually go, I'm sorry, I've been getting the wind-up signal. I've got 10 minutes to go and I've got 10 minutes worth of stuff. Please come and see me at the break. Here's my email address. Here's my phone number. Here's my website. Please visit it. This is clearly more important than the time we have to do this, and I want to answer your questions. That's me, because I don't have a problem with people calling or emailing me saying, give me help. I do when they buy my book for $60 and they're like, I want 3 hours free of your time. I go, no, thank you very much. But you're my clients now. So you call me and go, I just can't get over this. But if it's you and you can't give your time for free, then consider making some resources to give them on to let them access online. The videos that Andy was talking about, for example. Yeah, I've got a 5-minute video about that. Go look at it online. I'm not going to waste everybody's time looking at that. There's a thing about pyjamas on my site, pajamassecrets.com. Go visit that, you know. And the other thing is there is a kind of a traffic cop thing. We can go, your question, you know, so you actually let people know by traffic cop. And it feels like I'm just asking you a question, but I'm actually telling David just not to ask another question. It depends how you want to serve your customers and public too. I basically over-service. It's my problem. If there's something on here that doesn't make any sense to you, I'm giving you my email address in a few seconds. Voice speed we talked about. Drop your tone. Sorry, your pitch. Speak deep. Speak slow. I didn't see that in the 3 people we had up here. Didn't see that. No problems with speed at all. Confident at the beginning. Rehearse it. Rehearse in front of a mirror. Rehearse in front of a video camera. You've all got a video camera on your phone now. Just have the first 4 sentences. And by the way, they don't have to be complex. Small talky beginnings. Here we all are. It's a Friday. Had all that rain last night. I hope you're all ready to bunker in because we've got some great stuff to do. That could be your opening. It doesn't have to be... It could be the same opening every time. You don't have to tell a joke and you don't have to be funny unless that's who you are. But by having a small talky thing where everybody goes, yeah, it is Friday. Yes, we are all in this room together. Yes, we are. If they say yes in their mind, you tell them things that they're undeniable. It's Friday. We're in this room. We had a lot of rain last night. Their head's going yes. So then the next thing you say, they want to say yes to. It's called the hypnotic sales recipe. I'll give you consultantsconsultant.com.au/articles.htm. You will find a lot more about that. But essentially, if you get 4 or 5 sentences where they say yes at the beginning, you can use those over and over. It makes you feel comfortable, makes them say yes, and you can use them generically for the rest of time. This is why people do small talk. Not because they want to talk about nothing, but by talking about nothing, we get agreement, which goes back to what we talked about before, connecting to the audience. Confidence at the beginning, rehearse, self-promotion. I'm writing a book about self-promotion right now because I'm trying to find what are ways that I can do that don't make me feel embarrassed. My biggest thing is I am watching how other people do it. So at the moment I'm modelling. I'm looking for how can people get up and say who they are and feel good about that. And every now and then I try something new. Like this morning I actually preface with, I feel uncomfortable about self-promoting. And half of you in the audience went, oh good, me too. I'm not the only person. And so that got me on side with you guys, but it also meant that I got to self-promote. I went to a guy once, Chris somebody, he said, why will you be embarrassed about that? Do you believe in what you do? Does what you do make a difference? Will it make a difference and will it mean that people will actually buy your stuff if you tell them what they do? Is it that important? Then get over it, he said. If you believe in what you're doing and it's important, then just do it. This is going to warm up any second now. Yes, brilliant. Let me get you to the right page. I have a couple of things for you. Hang on, not this one. Oh, that's my kittens. This is Kevin, he's black, and this is Jenny. They're 16 weeks old. They're on my website, so they've gone a bit wonky, but cindytonkin.com will take you to anything that I do. Political Acumen is my corporate site. Consultantsconsultant.com.au has a number of articles, as I mentioned, articles.htm at the end of that, about things like this. If there's something should be on there and you can't find it, just email me and I'll send you. Here's my email address, cindy@cindytonkin.com. And here's my gift to you. There's my phone number as well. I have a 30-day follow-up program that I use after my public program where I just send people things saying, oh, look at this video, see how they're doing this. Look at this video, see how they're doing this. So looking at different things presenters do and just using online video. If you would like me to send that to you, just send me your send me an email and say I want to be on the 30-day follow-up program. I'll also send you, I'm an avid reader and I have been underlining on Kindle for the last probably 3 or 4 years, and I read a lot of books about persuasion and sales. I have 165 quotes of underlinings from books about presenting and sales. I'll send that to you. I can't sell it because it's not my work, it's just my labour of reading the book. But I found the 165 things you should read in a number of books. If you want that book, just send me an email. You're probably picking up your phone and doing it as we speak. I'm also running a program on August 15 and 16 in Sydney. If you would like to come along, here's your discount. If you go to tinyurl.com, breakthrough 31 being the 31st of May, which is when the offers expires, you get $400 off. So it's an $825 early bird, $1120 something for full thing. I'll give you $400 off, and you can bring a colleague or a staff member for free. Or a friend, I don't care, a spouse, I don't care. Basically, it's about half price, but it's really a quarter because you can bring someone else. That's my gift to you. Just write down the URL. If you can't find it, just email me, cindy@cindytonkin.com. That's pretty much all I had to say today. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for being vulnerable enough to stand up and expose yourself to this group. Thank you for just basically caring about stuff, about being here and about making a difference in business. As Steve said, the landscape is changing and we need to actually be prepared to shape that landscape, but it's people like you that do that. So thank you. See you next time.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you very much, Cindy. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Oh, questions, sorry.
Yeah, we're going to spend some time together. How good was that? Did we get a few little gems out of there about, I guess, the importance of being a wonderful presenter, but also a few little techniques that you can use, whether it be, we've got some guys here, Grant and Karen from 4N Networking, which is one of the biggest networking companies in Australia, 4N. And when you go to 4N, it's all about standing up for 40 seconds and giving a pitch. That 40 seconds can make or break what happens after that. So hopefully there's a little few techniques in here that we've used. And to the 3 guys that got up, well done, congratulations. It's this room's about stepping out of your comfort zone. So congratulations for stepping up.
If we do it again, we'll get everybody to do it and then we'll give you little reports cards. Maybe next time.
I'll bring more books. So
just write one.
I'll write one. I'll do that. So questions, guys, while Cindy's here. Yes, Mike.
What's your worst example, the worst moment that you had?
My personal worst moment is when I had spent an entire day with a entitlement mentality customer service area who hated people. Why do you have this job? Because it's close to home and I can feed the dog as much. Why do you have this job? Oh, because I've had it for 40 years. And so that kind of person. And I got to, they hated each other and they hated customers. This is my watershed moment. I didn't train for another 3 years after this. I was like, I'm not doing this again. We'd put together a, what do you call it? A code of conduct. Stuff like, if the photocopier is empty, I will recharge it or tell someone I won't just go home. You know, that really basic, how do we want to work together stuff. And I said, great, and to hold you to this, I'm going to ask you to sign the whiteboard and I'll take a photo. Now you think this is just getting people to commit to doing the stuff that they'd said they wanted to commit to, right? You'd think this was simple, right? One guy put his hand up and went, if I'm signing something, is this the contract? Shouldn't I have the union here? I lost it. So that was my worst moment, my absolute worst moment. I swore at them and then they said they were going to take me to, some of the members of the audience said that they would take me to sexual harassment because they said, that's a horrible word. And I went, do you know what that word means? It's like one of the most fun things in the universe. It's really exciting. You can guess what word it is.
Oh, I can't.
I think it's what you and your wife have a little baby and you did this particular. It's a verb
Drinking.
and yeah, that's right.
Drinking in Fiji.
Yeah. And you got married. You got married.
Oh, we got married.
Yes.
And,
Yeah. It's a married thing. Only married people do.
Oh, that's lovely. Excellent. That
So
answer your
was
question,
my
Mike?
worst
That was
moment. Absolutely. And I have replayed that 100 times in my head.
Me and my wife.
What I should have done, you know the should have dones, the staircase moments where you go, I wish I'd done this. What I should have done was say, I have friends. I have a friend, his name's Bob. And if Bob had heard that, he would have said, you're a fucking idiot. Wake up to yourself. Yeah. Now, I would never say that. But Bob's got a point. The landscape is changing. Now, if I'd done that, I would have been safe. But because I just... You know when your values are offended and there's like a volcano with a tiger in it and the volcano goes and then the tiger jumps out and eats everybody? You can't have any control over that. But if I'd just done, Bob would go. I'd say to myself, put that one in your list.
Write that down. Take Bob up on stage.
Excellent question, thank you.
Excellent, Grant.
It kind of leads on this question. So when you do blow it, how do you deal with that for yourself?
In that particular thing, they actually asked me to stop training. So I didn't have a chance to. But then they were like, but we still want you to do the happy sheets afterwards. And we still want you to do the aftercare. I'm like, what? I don't understand. But how do I, when I've done that, if I've done it, wherever you've done it, so let's say I did it here and I went, oh, no, and I swore, and I realised that you were offended by that, I would stand off that space, get as far away from that space as possible, and then I would be saying, that was inappropriate. What I just did then and what I said then was totally inappropriate. I apologise if any of you were offended, and I'm pleased, I would be very happy to talk to you about why it happened. It wasn't appropriate for me to do that, and I apologise. And then I would keep going. But I would stay away from that tainted spot. Yeah? So it's a recovery thing because essentially that spot then becomes the issue. And Steve just walked on it.
Walked over it.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So, yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. Any more questions? Last one for Cindy. Yes, Emma?
Your best moment?
My best moment.
Apart from this one.
So apart from today, which is very hard to beat, I ran a 18-day program over a year, and it was about 16 days in. It was 9 o'clock at night, and we were talking to people about accessing that stuff I talked to you about, the whole being supremely confident. And I felt like I wasn't actually presenting, that I was just surfing the wave of energy in the room, that it was happening and people were doing it, but I wasn't controlling that. A number of years ago, I went to see a guy called Harrison Owen, who's a Canadian trainer. He designed something called Open Space. Open Space is a way of running conferences where essentially it's mostly coffee breaks. Because what he found was he spent a whole year designing a conference, and at the end people go, oh, the coffee breaks were great. So he said, all right, and Open Space is a wonderful technique where essentially people come together and go, what do you want to speak about? And then we go, let's go speak about it. Let's come back. What do you want to speak about now? And he talks about that essentially anybody who believes they control a training room or a presenting room or any room at all, they're kidding themselves. You guys are a system. We are a system. We saw it after break. You guys were busy. You were doing stuff. You were talking to each other. And Steve's going, I just think we should, well, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to have to wait. Because the room manages itself. And that night, where I felt like I was surfing the energy, was clearly everything I'd done to that moment prepared me to that moment. And it's the same for you. Every time you get up at a networking event and speak, every time you stand up, your entire history is at your disposal. So it wasn't that I wasn't prepared, I was over-prepared. But what I had to let go of was what I needed and just allow the audience to get it there. Because it was the most spectacular 2 hours of my life. And I didn't have much to do with it, personally, consciously. But boy, I enjoyed it. So yeah, thank you.
You're in the zone.
Yeah, that's it. It's the zone.
All right. Good on you. Guys, want to put your hands together again for Cindy, please. Thank you.